I'm very excited to have this conversation, and I'm very excited for our audience to also get informed as to the services you offer. So real quickly, tell everybody who you are and a little bit about your business.
So my name is Donald Cunningham. Like Tony said earlier, I'm a regional vice president at Freedom Equity Group. I am a financial and retirement planning specialist here, or we specialize in comprehensive financial strategies designed to protect your loved ones and empower you to grow your wealth tax deferred. So I'm a licensed agent. I've been licensed for a little bit over 8 years. And I'm excited, man, to be in this industry because I'm able to help multiple families and business owners such as yourself, Tony.
Fantastic to hear. So one of the things that really intrigued me about our conversation, and I'm just going to tease it before we actually start, is the fact that your strategy is a little bit different than what most of us are used to when it comes to investments and retirements. So we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But before we do, let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background.
Okay, so a little bit about my background. I've been, since 2001, I actually been a CDL truck driver. I drove for garbage companies in Las Vegas, Louisiana, and even here in El Paso. So that's how I got kind of everything driven. All got started. My husband, I've been married to my wife for 30 years. I have 9 kids and I have 9 grandkids. Man, I have a big family.
It sounds like it. You really do have a big family for sure. One of the things that really came and kind of rang a bunch of light bulbs and dings to me when we had a conversation in relation to what you are doing now with Freedom Equity Group is the fact that you are also a blue collar worker, just like most of us. You're not the white collar guy. You're not the guy. Well, yeah, you probably wear, a shirt and tie and a suit when you have meetings and seminars and whatnot. But day to day, you're just a blue collar, just like all the rest of us. You're middle class, just like us. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I do work for a company here at in the city of El Paso. I work for the environmental service department, and I do my business definitely, I say part-time, full-time, if that makes sense.
Makes complete sense.
I kind of split it up. I do have a job and then I do have a career. So what I do and what I'm passionate about, helping families, that's my career, if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. I think we all understand that when you start a business, it takes time to grow. It takes hustle. It takes grind. It takes for you to get out there and put yourself out there, put your face, get your brand, attend events, basically everything that we're talking about that reinforces my part 2 of how to get your business discovered in 2025. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to click play and listen to that as well. But it takes time to grow your business. And obviously, we all understand bills still have to be paid. Family still has to be fed. You know, we still have to pay for the roof that we live under. So yes, you're right. There is a job and then there's a career. Now, let's talk about how you actually got into becoming a financial planner or advisor with Freedom Equity Group.
So how I got exposed to this information was through my spiritual mentor. His name is Dr. Ron Thomas. He the one that introduced me into this information. We went to a business meeting. I sat in with him, and I was exposed to some fascinating information, man, that I never heard before, and that I thought that everybody that I know that's connected with me could benefit from. So I was actually in the process of becoming a fireman for Las Vegas, Nevada. And so I was in the process of becoming that. And then I was exposed to this information. And then I had realized it was like a light bulb that just came on, and realized that I can help more families and business owners solving a problem with their financial situation more than I can do being a fireman. And so that's what really kicked my career off into the financial service industry. And I just dove head in, got licensed in the first 30 days. And now I'm actually licensed in 13 states, where I'm able to help anyone in these different states to provide service to them.
That's fantastic to hear. So just to recap, you were living in Las Vegas for many years. You were in the fire academy, right? Or were you actually going through the hiring process?
Yep. Going the hiring process.
Okay, so you're going through the hiring process, and then with you being a spiritual man, a man of faith, you went with your advisor, mentor, to one of the classes that was talking about what you are doing today, and then all of a sudden, maybe God was talking to you. Maybe He gave you that calling, said, you know what, this is something that you would be great at doing, that you can help others. Because as you said, you're right. Being a firefighter, we help people, but in being first responders, you help people at the worst possible time in their lives, right? Which is horrible, horrific.
Yes.
And then of course you help them, you stabilize them, you get them to the hospital, and you probably never see them again, right? So that's your first responder help intuition in you. But when you changed over to what you're doing now, you can actually help them more long-term, and you can help them more on a personal level. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I realized that back then, when I first got into it, I realized the number one causes of divorce, because I was married at the time. The number one cause of divorce is finances. And so I'm like, oh man, I just thought that maybe I could sit down with a couple and help them, guide them through the navigation of financial goals, and being financial secure can benefit them and help them in regards to their marriage. So that's what I was thinking back then as well. So
Totally
I
understand.
said, whatever I can do, Lord, just put me out there and just let me assist, or just let me serve however I can in regards to in this financial realm.
Gotcha. Cool. So you got started, you got your calling to get into the financial services, retirement planning, life insurance industries. So let's talk a little bit about what products and services that you offer at Freedom Equity Group.
Okay, so most of the products that I actually offer is life insurance. We provide life insurance. We provide tax-free retirement. We apply wealth building, and then we also have equity share. So just to tally it up, the main things, anything dealing with life insurance, like I said, life insurance, tax-free retirement, living benefits, and wealth building.
So, of course, I think one of the first or one of the first things that our audience is hearing when they hear you speak right now is like, oh, it's just another life insurance guy. He's trying to sell me life insurance as usual, blah-de-da-de-da-de, right? But
Yep,
what you're doing is a little bit different. So do tell.
absolutely. It's very unique. So I'm gonna give you something to think about. So just imagine a financial plan that not only safeguards your family through reliable life insurance, but also provides living benefits when you need them the most. So, and your financial future can be as strong as your present. Today, together, we'll create a strategy to protect and grows your wealth from generation to come. So that's what I really focus on. And all in a nutshell, I would say I show people how to privatize their savings and get the government out their pocket at the end of the day.
Right.
So, and that's how we use life insurance to do that.
Okay. So I think people, you have their attention right now by saying, okay, it is life insurance, but it's something a little bit different. Can you go into the details as to how this process and strategy works?
Okay, so how the process it starts from the beginning. Anyone that reach out to me, I go and I gather their information. We call it a report. Basic information from a one sheet. I go based off what they're put on the form, and then I gather their information, and then I go in to create a case design based off of what their saving goals and what their future goals are. And then I just created a strategy based off the information they give me, and then I come back with the illustration, and I go over the illustration, and then I go and teach and educate them on the illustration so they have a basic understanding of what it is, such as an IUL. So I use IUL as one of my main products. IUL, which simply means Index Universal Life. And so this is a product
Say that one more time.
anyone can.
Say that one more time, Donald.
IUL, which is an Index Universal Life policy.
Index Universal Life Policy.
Life.
Right? Okay.
Yes, sir. So the benefits of this is what it does is it protects the three main concerns of life what ifs. So let's say life what if is what if you live a long time? Will I get sick along the way? And will I die unprepared? So this policy protects you for life what if. And so let me break it down just a little bit to give a little clarification. So let's say, what if I live a long time? You can actually pull tax-free income from your policy over the years, from it being grown, from the cash value growing. You can pull it out tax-free. Okay. Now, what if I get sick along the way? We have what we call living benefits. So living benefits are riders. Everybody should be familiar with riders inside the policy. It's three riders. It's critical, chronic, and terminal illness riders.
Break those down for us,
Comes with
please.
the policy. Okay, so the terminal. So let's say the doctor say you got 24 months to live. You can accelerate your policy. You can pull money from your death benefit amount once you file a claim. So that's for terminal. Critical, you get a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. Okay, and you get heart attack, stroke, or cancer. Now you can accelerate your policy as well, such as you can pull money from your death benefit amount based off the severity of the claim. Now, chronicle, let's say you can't perform 2 out of the 6 bodily functions, such as toiletry, eating, bathing, and you can't get around. If you can't perform 2 out of the 6 forms, you can qualify for chronic illness. Now you can accelerate your policy from your debt benefit amount. Now these riders are, like I said, are added to the policy at no additional cost. So, I mean, I always tell people it's kind of, everybody should be familiar with Aflac on their job. It's similar to Aflac, but I call it Aflac on steroids.
Okay, cool. Let me just break it down just a little bit further to what you said, the 3 riders, right? So terminal means it's inevitable.
Uh-huh.
You're going to die, right? Critical
Yeah.
is you have suffered a handicap as a result of a stroke, heart attack, cancer, and that restricts your mobility and your capability of living a normal life, right? What was the last one? I'm sorry. Chronic, right? Chronic, where you can still function, but you are now handicapped, and some of your extremities, it renders you immobile in doing certain motor skills. Correct?
Yes, where you need assistance. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that makes complete sense, and I think that everybody would be able to understand that perspective. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of us are hearing right now is like, it just sounds like you said, Aflac on steroids. But what is different about this strategy is that it can also be a part of retirement and investments and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely. That's one of the Life what is if you live a long time.
Okay. So why don't you break that
That's
part down too?
your
Because I
money.
think most people are like, well, it just sounds like you're selling, whole or term life insurance. So what do you tell
Yeah,
us?
so I got you. It's kind of similar to if you was everybody's similar. I mean, familiar with whole life. Whole life is a permanent policy, and it accumulates cash value over time. So does a IUL, because it's a permanent policy, but it accumulates over time. But the cool part about an IUL is the interest is flexible. You know, whole life is fixed. IUL is flexible. So your range for your percentage can grow. Normally between, I would say between 6 to 12%. So after a certain period of time, the money grows tax deferred. So it's not being taxed while it grows. And the cool part about it, since it's tied to a life insurance policy, you can actually pull it out tax free.
Okay. So again, that's a little bit different approach as the traditional whole life insurance. So if I understand this correctly, it is a life insurance policy, but on top of that, you have a retirement investment portfolio that's kind of piggybacking on that policy. So you can either use it for an unfortunate life changing event, such as, cancer, stroke. If it comes to the catastrophic event where something is terminal, you can essentially pull from that money and then live off of that until, or family members can as well. But if you're fortunate enough to live through all of that, you can use that money, the investment portion of that money, to be able to basically sustain quality of life. Is that correct?
Somewhat. So let me break it down a little bit. So Tony, you kind of explained it pretty good. But you want to separate. It's two things that separate. Okay. So the investment part, the IUL, the investment part where the cash accumulation value, that's separate from living benefits. If you were to use the critical, chronic, and terminal illness. So let's say from day one, once you approve, you qualify for all the benefits. So let's say in 30 days, you get ill or you get sick, you can pull the money from your death benefit. That's where the living benefits come into play. Now, the cash value growing over time, over years, that's where you can pull it out, or you can use the resources for whatever reason. So it's separate. So
Okay.
I want to keep that, separate. So like say you get an illness, you can pull it from your face amount, your death benefit amount. And then if you want to use it for whatever, like investments, a lot of investors, a lot of business owners utilize this because they can pull it over time, the cash value grows and they can pull that out tax free and they can use that towards another investment, whatever they choose to.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
I think most of us understand the foundation of what you're saying. So it's, there's just two different parts of this. Obviously, we all understand about, we see the commercials for Aflac, so we kind of know what that part is.
Yes.
And I think everybody kind of understands, what that portion is. I think we all also understand the life insurance portion of it as well. So let's dive into the investment and retirement portion. So do tell.
So the investment and retirement portion, that's something that, like I said, over time that you can benefit. So I'm gonna give you an example. Here, we have 4 phases of insurance and retirement planning. So I'm gonna give you a scenario, a difference between the average 401k and the IUL. So because 95% of the people have a 401k and they use that for retirement, correct?
Correct.
So I want to show you the difference. We have 4 phases. The first phase is contribute. Contribute. So we contribute, we pay out of our check or how we pay for our 401k. So phase one is contribution. Phase two is accumulation. Phase three is distribution, and phase four is transfer. So I'm gonna go through the 401k and then I'm gonna go through the IUL. So the 401k is a tax deduction, which means you can fund your 401k before you get taxed at the beginning. It's pre-tax dollars. Now IUL, Same phase. In IUL, you're contributing after tax dollars. Now, that's a huge difference. One is after tax, 401k is before tax. Now we're finna go into phase two, which is accumulation, where it grows. Now both of them grows tax deferred, which means it's not being taxed as the money grows over time inside of 401k and inside of IUL. Phase three, we have the taxable at retirement, which is a 401k. This is taxable at retirement. So when they're ready to retire and they're ready to pull the funds out, it's taxable. In the IUL, when it's ready to pull the funds out, it's tax advantage at retirement, which means they can pull the resources out tax free. That's a huge difference between the traditional retirement plan, which is a 401k or IRA, compared to the IUL. That's a huge difference. And then we have phase four, which is transfer. Let's say the 401k recipient pass away. If they have a 401k, it's taxable to the beneficiary. And the IUL is tax-free death benefit. So if they pass away, it's tax-free income going to the beneficiary. But the phase three is huge, man. It takes, because when you pull the money out in the 401k, that's taxable, we don't know exactly what tax bracket we're going to be in the future. It can be high. We just don't never know. And so they can be taxed, significant. Man, 40% of what they have in there can be taxed. So just imagine, as opposed to having tax-free income at 100% where you pull the money out.
Right.
That
Mm-hmm.
that speaks volume. That's a huge difference when we
Yeah.
dealing with
Yeah,
retirement.
I think obviously, I think most of us, although some of us don't want to admit that none of us
Yeah,
don't like paying taxes. We just don't. We have to.
I
It's
know
a
it.
necessary evil. But at the end of the day, we all want to pay as little as possible, right? Especially when it
Yeah.
comes to retirement investments. And, we want to have that money available to us because when we get up to the retirement age, we still have to, yes, we're going to enjoy our lives, right? But we still have
Mhm.
to live our lives. We still have to sustain our lives. So I think one of the questions that people will ask right now is like, well, I have a 401k, I have an IRA, I'm putting money into it right now, but why would I want to switch those or either one of those over to the IUL, right? Did I say that right or did I get dyslexic?
Yeah, IUL. Yeah,
Okay.
you said it right. You're right. It's definitely something to consider at the end of the day, because when you think about it, in their 401k or IRAs is exposed to the market. So which means it's tied directly to the stock market. So if the stock market if we have another, 2002 or another 2008 market crash, it
Mm-hmm.
could significantly wipe out their whole retirement. And then it can take years for them to get back to where they was at. As opposed of in the IUL, when that 2002 or 2008 hit again, nothing will be wiped out from their account because they have provisions set in place. So what in the IUL, what it does, it mirrors the stock market and their performance, but it removes the market risk. So it's no risk involved inside of IUL compared based off the market. So that is huge by itself.
Yeah, I think that
I, I, I,
I think that
I
people
met a
understand
gentleman.
the safety net portion. I mean, it just seems like the safety net's always going to be there versus 401ks or IRAs where it's like you said it's directly a part of the stock market, and if you have another crash, which it probably is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, a lot of money can be lost in the
Exactly.
process. However, in the IUL, that safety net's always going to be there and your money is never going to go between or it's never going to go outside that safety net. It's always going to be there, correct?
Absolutely. It's going to be protected. All my clients that have an IUL never lost a single penny inside their policy when the market was low, even when it goes into the negative, because they have what we call an auto reset. Some policies depends on which ones we have, partnered with multiple companies. Some we call it a floor and we call it a cap. The floor is some policies have 0.25%, which means if the market goes into the negative, that account still get 0.25%. I have some that's 0%. So regardless, at the end of the day, they're still not going to lose nothing and they're not going to gain nothing when the market is in the negative. But of course, when the market is in the positive, they receive all of that. Some have a cap, which means let's say the stock market did 12% and this particular policy had a cap at 10%, it would only be funded 10% instead of 12 because they had a cap at 10. Now I have some that don't have no cap, so they can receive, if it goes up to 45 or 50%, they can receive that 45 and 50% inside their policy that year.
Okay. I think a lot of minds are blown right now. I think a lot of people are listening to this, and I think the main question that they're asking themselves is, how is this possible? How is it done?
Me.
How do you create a retirement and investment portfolio with a safety net, a solid safety net that you won't lose money? Now, in certain downturns, you won't gain any money, but it won't go away. So how is it different than, what you're saying with the IUL? Like, how is this possible?
Tony, man, he's been around since the mid 90s. And that's why when I got into the industry, I was surprised that why don't too many people know about this, So what it is just the IRS tax codes protecting IULs that allowing them, we have what we call the 72 Alpha and the 7702 IRS tax code that protect this policies to allow them to fund insurance policy for retirement. And it allowed them to take the money out tax free. And these are IRS tax codes, man. So, and 401k is an actual tax code as well. The gentleman that actually, forgot his name, but the gentleman that actually created the 401k tax code, he said it was the worst thing he ever created because it's supposed to intentionally benefit the employee instead of the employer. And regardless of they lose or gain inside the 401k, Wall Street still get paid. Just knowing what's out there and what's out there for me. And so my job is to, when I found this out about 8 years ago, like I said, I'm going to share this with everyone that I know, man, because everybody can benefit from this. And it's just like the qualifications for IUL is the same as a qualification for a regular life insurance policy.
Okay.
It's nothing special.
Yeah. I mean,
just getting approved. Yeah.
I think everybody is, their minds are blown, and they're probably going to be doing a lot of research about what we're talking about on this podcast. Feel free to do all the research and stuff. In fact, it's highly recommended and encouraged. Or of course, you can always call Donald. I'm going to have all of his information in the description, so you'll be able to ask as many questions as you want. But let's talk a little bit about, real quickly, the actual process. So let's say somebody is listening to this podcast right now. They like what you, they like what your business is. They want to maybe have a meeting with you. And then from there, they want to commit. So from what I understand from our pre-show meeting was, they call you, they sit down, you go over the numbers, you do your analysis, and then they say, okay, sounds good to me, I'm in. What happens from there moving forward?
From that moving forward, I just, like I said, I schedule a time with them, whether it's virtual or in person, just depending on, of course, if what state they're in. And that's based off what I created for them. I make sure I go over the illustration page by page and make sure they got a total understanding of the product that they was interested in. And once they say, okay, yeah, let's move forward, man, it normally takes about 20 to 30 minutes to do an application. Cool part about the application is it don't require no fees up front. It only require them to make their first payment or first initial draft payment on approval. Once they approve, then they can actually make their first monthly payment, if it's a monthly payment. Now, if it's something like they got a 401k and they got their resources, because we can assist people that already got a 401k and they want to roll their 401k over into such as like a fixed index annuity, We have them products as well. They can actually roll it off safely with no fees. And then we can actually roll that over, man, and that's simple as well. To roll it over into a fixed index annuity. We have that product as well. That
Okay.
takes about, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes for the application. And then we just sit back and wait for the approval.
Okay. We have a lot of military here with Fort Bliss.
Okay.
A lot of people have IRAs and have 401ks. Some also have TSPs. Are you able to work with those as well?
Absolutely. Actually, 2 clients ago was a gentleman. He just retired from 20 years. I just helped him roll his TSP over into a fixed index annuity. So I just assisted him in regards to that for the military. That's pretty simple as well. I work, like I said, I got a couple of actually military clients here in El Paso that's in the military. So I work with them. I work with them. I work with teachers. I show them how to do their TSP as well. I mean, individuals. I work with business owners. It's pretty much unlimited who I can work with. You know,
Okay.
in order to get an IUL, they have to be at least 15 days old. I
Okay.
work with babies and infants
Yeah, of course.
as well.
Yeah, I understand. So I think that we have a very clear, basic understanding of the services that you offer over at Freedom Equity Group. And so, just a couple more questions before we start to wrap this up, because because I can talk to you about this forever and ever and ever. But for the sake of time, we want to just keep it as basic as possible. And then, of course, if you're interested in contacting Donald and having a more in-depth conversation, that would be the obvious choice to do after listening to this podcast. So just real quick, Donald, you are licensed. You are a licensed individual, licensed professional to deal with everything that we spoke about. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of licenses do you have?
I have a life. It's just actually a life producer license. Just able to, where I'm able to write life insurance business. And the cool part about it is the strategies and the information or the products that we just discussed about. I'm licensed to write them as well in any state, any 50 states. So I'm licensed right now in 13 states. But if I wanted to do business in a different state, all I have to do is just pay the state fees, get licensed, and now I'm able to do business in that state.
Okay, cool. Also, you told me that you have a pretty respectable client list. Do you want to talk about, how big or small it is? And
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm very transparent. No guru, no map, but
right.
I do have a nice book of business. So just in the last year, I just did 117 new clients within the last. Well, actually, I'm sorry, within the last year and a half, close to 2 years. I acquired about 117 new clients, and how I came up with that was I just did a business plan this year. And I went over what I accomplished since I've been with them, and of course my goals, what I'm looking to acquire and to thrive in this year and to accomplish. Definitely looking to accomplish twice as that, and looking to connect and partner with multiple business owners as well.
That's fantastic to hear. You said you are a resident of the El Paso area now, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, that you moved from Las Vegas, but you're a permanent resident here. Your family is all here. You live here in El Paso now. And so, if those of you who are actually listening to this right now, you're probably wondering, well, he doesn't even live here. That's not true, correct?
Correct. I do live here. I am a resident in El Paso, the wonderful El Paso, Texas, man. Like I said, when I talked to you, Tony, earlier, I didn't even know if it was a city called El Paso
Yeah.
before I moved here. But I realized it is. We moved, me and my family. We moved here from Las Vegas. We've been here actually going on 3 years, man. So like I said, man, I'm here. I'm local. Love to meet anyone that want to sit down with me and go over some information I shared today. I even actually found that's one of the main things when I moved here. I wanted to find a good church home. You know, that's what I was telling you earlier too, Tony. I found a good church home, man, that for, the values that me and my wife and my kids value as much. like you said, we're spiritual. We actually worship at the church called the Rock Faith Center. It's actually on 11201 Armor Drive here in El Paso. And if you'd love to come out, you can actually come out and meet me in person. At the end of the day, I would love to connect.
Yeah, and of course, you said that you've helped some of your peers at church, so you're welcome. Well, if they go and meet you in person there, they can also get some testimonies for some of your current clients, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Right now, I roughly have about 5 clients at the church that I worship at. So yeah, I assist and help them as well. Absolutely.
All right. That's fantastic to hear. So we're going to wrap up here. But the last question I have for you, Donald, is what is your goal? Where do you see yourself in the next 3, 5, 10 years? What is that goal that you're trying to achieve with your business?
Oh man, the next 3 to 5, 10 years, I would say the next 3 years definitely have a home office here in El Paso that's thriving. Agents that want to partner with me and to assist on this journey that I'm on, this living benefits crusade. That would definitely be what I'm looking forward to in the next 3 years. The next 10 years, I want that to be 3 times what I accomplished in the next 3 years, if that makes sense.
It
So
does.
whatever I accomplish in 3 years, by the 10th year, I would love to have that triple or quadruple. Because at the end of the day, everyone needs to know this information. I believe, even if they don't inquire the product or service, it would be a great benefit to even just know that this information exists out here. That everyone that have access to it and benefit from it.
And of course, as we talked about before, Donald, that you offer complimentary consultations, so it's really no risk whatsoever. If somebody were to want to talk with you more, you can at least put that information out there for them to ponder over. Correct?
Absolutely. I'll even create a case design for them based off the information that I gather for my client needs analysis form. I'll even create a case design based off of, like I said, the report that I gather from you. And you can have it if you want to do it a year later, this, that. I had a client, man, that I sat down with him, created a case design, and a year later, he was like, okay, Don, I'm ready to move forward. And that became my biggest client to this day.
Right.
We waited a year and we got him going, him and his wife. They both were business owners. So
Yeah. I think
sat down with them and
I think at the very
go ahead.
least, Donald, I think what I'm hearing from you is you help to plant the seeds for prosperity. So
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, we're all business owners. We all go to it, or we all work for somebody or an employer, whatnot. But at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is to reach retirement, is to have that income ready to go when we retire, when we have to put, kids through school further down the road, and or we have a life-changing traumatic event happen to us, which it could and might actually happen. So that's kind of what we all do as a society, is to strive for at the end of the day, is just for those goals. So I think everybody understands that. And I think pretty much most of us understand that it is the ultimate goal to to retire, to have that money saved up, and to be able to live off of it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, like you said, Tony, it's not a matter of time. If it just when, So just to share a little bit, every year millions of people in America will suffer a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. The good news is that 70% of the victims will live. The bad news is over 50% of the people that live will go bankrupt. Think about it. If you become really sick and cannot work, how would you pay your bills? So the new modern type of life insurance, which is what I offers a critical, chronic, and terminal illness rider and no additional cost. Man, these here at Freedom Equity Group, we've seen these riders benefits not only change lives but save lives at the end of the day. So I personally know people that benefit from having these policies in place. I actually have my first claim was 4 years into the business. Where I actually had to file death claim, first death claim. So far, that's my only one, but
Right.
but I had to file a death claim, and then I seen the seriousness of it. Where I was able to, unfortunately, be able to deliver two checks to her son and her daughter.
That's fantastic to hear.
And this was something that she said, I just want to have this in place for my babies. And the cool part about it, it wasn't even expensive. I would say it was like $100 a month that she was paying. But she just wanted to have something in place. And they didn't know 7 months later, this is 7 months, man. 7 months later, she ended up passing away.
That's a really sad story, and I hope that you don't have to
Man,
write something for that
yeah,
ever again.
I
We
know,
all want
right?
to live as long as we possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast because we went a little bit over, but it's okay because I feel
Okay.
like this was a wealth of information. I think this was valuable information for all of us who have never heard of this particular product that you are offering. So I'm going to put all of your contact information in the description, but do you want to go ahead and let everybody know how to reach out to you?
Yes. The quickest way to reach me is through text. My number is 702-427-0481. You can always text me or you can even call me. I'll respond quicker to text. You can email me at FEGDONCHAM@gmail.com. You can always also schedule on my calendar. I have calendly.com/DSC Financial. And of course, I'm always on Facebook. You can even look up Donald Cunningham. You see the gentleman, nice gentleman in a gray suit jacket with the bow tie. That's how you know that's how you know that's me. I also have a business page at DSC Financial Services on Facebook. I'm also LinkedIn at DONCHAM and also on Instagram, DONCHAM.
All right, fantastic. And once again, I will put all this information in the description, so don't worry about having to scramble to write it all down. It'll all be right there, and it'll be linked to whatever way you want to contact Donald for sure. And I do believe that I have chosen the right individual that in you, Donald, to talk about retirement, life insurance, so on and so forth, because of the fact that for one, you are a man of faith. Number two, you are a blue collar worker just like us, like most of us. And then, of course, you are a small business owner as well. So I think those are the three things that most of us can relate as to why it is great to meet you, great to speak with you. And I'm very thankful and appreciative that you joined me here on Squad 915.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me, Tony. I appreciate it. I appreciate you a lot, man, for reaching out. They gave me the opportunity to share with your audience and able to bless them with the information as well. Bless you, my friend. Bless you.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated, Donald. And thank you very much for listening to another edition of Squad 915 Business Spotlight. Be sure to check out our socials. They're in the description. We are on YouTube, we're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Squad 915, as well as myself personally. I've been actually updating my Instagram quite a bit these days. And so if you're going to follow anybody, at least maybe follow me because I'm a person. I'm not AI. I'm not a bot. I'm a real life human being. So look forward to having you follow me there. But most importantly, follow the show. Sign up for or click on the notifications tab. So whenever a new podcast drops or even a new video on YouTube drops, you'll be the first to know. So once again, thank you very much for listening to another edition of Squad 915 Business Spotlight, and we'll talk to you again next time.